These children of Israel look quite happy, although this is their first day back at school after their summer holidays. Toddlers reaching school age and the children of new immigrants have swollen the school population to a record 500,000 this term, and new schools are being built all the time. Israel is the only country in the Middle East with free education for all. These new immigrant children learn to write Hebrew, the language of the Bible and the language of modern Israel. The new St. Joseph's Seminary for Greek Catholic boys who aim to become priests was opened in Nazareth this month in the presence of Archbishop George Hakim, Monsignor William King, head of the Pontifical Delegation to the Middle East, and other distinguished visitors. The school, built by funds from the government and donations by Catholic communities in Belgium, France, and West Germany. Greetings are brought by the Ministry of Religions and by the patriarchal representative, Monsignor Vergani, as mosaic portrait of Jesus and St. Joseph was unveiled. The Prime Minister and other members of the Cabinet addressed a mass meeting in Tel Aviv this month to boost the sale of local bonds to help finance housing for new immigrants. Much is already being done to build houses like these for immigrants in kibbutzim, settlements, villages, and in townlets set up in designated development areas like this at Ashdod Yam, planned as a new port and industrial city in the southern Mediterranean. New immigrant children who are unable to do so in the lands from which they came take part here in a collective bar mitzvah confirmation. The new Canadian ambassador to Israel, Mr. Darcy Magria, presented his credentials to the President in Jerusalem this month. Mr. Pinchas Rosen, the Minister for Justice, acted for Mrs. Golda Meir. British Member of Parliament John Biggs Davison, on a visit to Israel this month, saw boys and girls of a farmer soldier unit of the Israel Army undergoing their basic training before going out to do pioneer farming at a frontier settlement. Another visitor this month was American Congressman Victor Vanvonza, who met with the Ministers of Finance and Commerce. Mr. Vanvonza is chairman of the House Committee on Agricultural Surpluses. This is a passing out parade of police officer cadets. The course of training for police officers is long and intensive and includes study of criminal detection, patrol in the field, as well as courses in the law, jurisprudence, and court procedure. Service and help to the public is their motto, and immigrants into Israel, many from lands where the policeman is looked upon as a hated tyrant, learn to look to the Israel policeman as their friend. These points were stressed in addresses by the Minister of Police and by a member of the Supreme Court, who also reviewed the successful cadets. Units of the Parachute Corps took part in maneuvers this month under conditions made as tough and as realistic as possible. Foreign military attaches were among those invited to watch. They jumped with their personal weapons, while heavy equipment was dropped by multiple parachutes. The first of the fleet of Bristol Britannias to enter the service of El Al, Israel National Airlines, reached Lydda Airport this month. The Britannia, known as the Whispering Giant because of its noiselessness, is a turboprop aircraft, smooth and fast, which will cut flying time from Israel to New York and Europe by half. The daughter of Tzvi Tohar, El Al's chief pilot, offers the bouquets after his 6-hour non-stop flight from England. Internationally famed scientists, both from Israel, like Professor Raka, here seen with the Prime Minister, including Nobel Prize winners and other distinguished atomic physicists from 17 different countries, met at the Weizmann Institute of Science this month to hold the International Conference on Nuclear Structure. Prime Minister Ben Gurion gave the opening address. Visiting the laboratories, the overseas scientists had high praise for the research work being carried out by Israel's physicists. Professor Pauli, the Swiss Nobel Prize winner, called the new Israel Institute of Nuclear Sciences the most impressive place of its kind in the Middle East, and probably the only modern institute of physics between Great Britain and India. The international stamp exhibition, Tabil, opened by the Minister of Posts in Tel Aviv this month, drew thousands of philatelists, many from lands as far away as Argentina and America, Poland and Hungary. On display were the stamps of 33 postal authorities and of many valuable private collections, including those of Cardinal Spellman, the Italian Marquis of Ferini, and the British royal family. A special feature was the history of Israel told in its stamps. Amusing cartoons told the story of postal development. Distinguished international philatelists served as judges of the 313 collections in the competition class. The first prize was the silver-bound Jerusalem Bible donated by President Ben Zvi. Israel was a land of vineyards in biblical times. Today, in valleys and on terraced hillsides throughout the country, the ancient fruitfulness is being revived, and veteran settlers and new immigrants are engaged in cutting the rich clusters of grapes both for the table and for wine. Not to mention for themselves. Wine grapes go direct from vineyard to wine cellar. Here they mature in huge vats. Tasting is done by the tongue of the connoisseur before the wine is approved and passed for bottling. Israel wines are much in demand for the local and the export market. And they are appreciated as much by veterans like 80-year-old pioneer guardsman Abraham Shapiro as by these young honeymooners. The torch-lit at Modin, birthplace of the Maccabees, and carried by young Maccabean relay runners, signaled the traditional start of the 5th Maccabiah Sports Festival this month, with athletes from Israel and 20 other countries, which was formally opened before a crowd of 50,000 at the Ramat Gan Stadium. Israel runner Ari Neve carries in the torch as President Ben Zvi arrives. The eternal flame is lit. Maccabee juniors bearing flags spearheaded the grand march past to 1,000 Jewish athletes, several of them Olympic champions. They passed the presidential stand, which contained cabinet ministers, members of parliament, diplomats, and other distinguished visitors. The Maccabiah Games are recognized by official bodies throughout the world as an international standard sporting event, and the high caliber of the participants made this the most exciting sports festival ever held in Israel. The largest contingents came from the United States, France, Britain, South Africa, the Argentine, Brazil, Holland, Mexico, Canada, Switzerland, and Chile. But the small delegations of Finns, Danes, and Indians got a big hand. Following the march past, 2,500 young Maccabees put on a mass calisthenics display. Next day, the competitors were out on the track to beat records. Britain's 16-year-old Deborah Turner ran off with a 100 meters dash and won several other events. In the men's hurdles, America's Bob Rittenberg won the 110 and 200 meters, and British champion Harry Kane the 400 meters. The pole vault attracted large crowds who saw America's all-round athletic champion Mike Herman roll over the bar at just under 4 meters. Limonchil of Canada won the discus throw, followed by Zilverman of Israel and Engel of America. The long jump was won by Israel's David Kushner, who beat the Maccabiah record. Every one of the events carried with it a gold medal for the winner. There were some beautiful displays in freestyle diving, Mexico's young champion Georges Telch amassing most points, followed by Israel's Yaron Plevinsky. 13-year-old South African Helen Zoltman beat Israel's Shoshana Ribna in the 100 meters freestyle swimming event. The gold medal for the men's 1,500 meters went to Oscar Kramer of the Argentine. Speed and precision marked the keenly contested table tennis games. The basketball finals drew fans from all over the country. The best boxing teams were put up by India and Israel. But the most exciting event of the entire Maccabiah was weightlifting. Isaac Berger, the Jerusalem-born American Olympics weightlifting champion, broke the world flyweight record by lifting 117.1 kilos, the first time a world record has been established in Israel. The previous record was held by the Russian Magria at 115 kilos. Now, to meet the champions ball in Jerusalem was Agnes Kellerty from Hungary, Olympics champion in gymnastics, who refused to return to Hungary from last year's Melbourne Olympiad and is settling in Israel. Harold Bromberg, brilliant South African sprinter, got the cup for the outstanding athlete of the 5th Maccabiah. The champions themselves chose as their Maccabee queen young Rena from Haifa, now doing her national service in the Israel Navy. And then they all took it easy after a most exciting week of wonderful sport.